What I'm going to do is create a first version of my video in Vyond Go and then bring that into Vyond Studio and implement some techniques for engagement, as well as doing a little bit of a rebrand with color, logos, and then also swapping out some visuals to better represent the information in the video, all in about 10 to 15 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and look over this way at my other monitor here. And here in Vyond Go, there's a few different ways that you can prompt. You can type a simple prompt like you would in ChatGPT. So for instance, you can type sales process techniques and get a video from that. Up here at the top, under topic, you also have the option to choose script. Topic will basically generalize the information or the prompt that you put in the box, whereas script will give you exactly word for word what you input. Aside from being able to type or copy paste into the box, you can also click add and upload script documents, note documents, anything of that sort. You can also generate a video from a website URL, which is kind of cool. I'm going to go ahead and paste in some fake notes that I generated in ChatGPT. This is just kind of some basic notes that someone might take in a sales call with a potential client. To preface these notes, I'm going to come up here and say, create a recap of the notes below. End the video with a call to action to schedule a follow-up call. And then once I've done that, I can go to my layout area where I can choose between a talking head, a conversation between two characters, or a narration style video. I'm going to choose talking head and the triangles template. And then I'm also going to use my own character rather than the character that comes with the template. And in doing so, it brings up this option here for me to customize the text-to-speech settings. All of the voices here at the top of the list are Well Said Labs voices, which are very high quality and they sound great. For my character, I like the male Chase J voice. I'll click Save Settings. And then under Optional Settings, I'm going to change my vibe to Formal and leave my format as Overview. Once you've done this, you'll click Create Video, which will take about 30 seconds and bring you to the quick edit page here. I went ahead and generated the video just to save us a little bit of time, but in quick edit, you can update your character settings as well as swap your character, and you can edit any on-screen text or text-to-speech voices as well. But let me go ahead and preview what we've created here.
Hey everyone, let's recap our recent sales call with Zodio. Steven Moreno, our point of contact, is Zodio's CIO. Zodio is facing some significant challenges. They struggle with scalability during peak usage and have concerns about data security and compliance, especially with SOC 2 and GDPR. Additionally, high latency issues are affecting their user experience. Currently, they rely on on-premise servers combined with a hybrid cloud solution using AWS. What interests them? They're looking for cost savings through optimized cloud resources and improved uptime with SLA guarantees. They also want AI-powered analytics for better forecasting. They evaluated competitor solutions like Microsoft Azure and Google Cloud. The decision-making process involves the CIO and IT director, with the CFO for budget approval. Next steps include sending a custom pricing proposal. We also need to schedule a tech demo for their IT team next week. Lastly, we should provide case studies from similar fintech clients. Let's keep the momentum going. I encourage everyone to schedule a follow-up meeting to discuss our strategy further. Together, we can help Zodio overcome their challenges.
All right, so that was really great, actually. Vyond Go did a really great job of creating different sections of the videos with visuals to go along with those titles, as well as adding camera movements and different angles, really, like wides, mediums, close-ups, things like that. So I'm going to bring this into Vyond Studio and just see what we can do to improve it a little bit. From here, you would click Edit Video and then Full Edit in Vyond Studio. I've already got a video opened here, just a copy of that video, just again to save us some time. The first thing I want to do is update the intro a little bit to add a little bit more engagement, especially right now our first scene is 6 seconds long and not a lot happens. You know, a lot of what Rachel went over involved using you know, real talent, live action footage, you know, real people, but all of those principles still apply to animation. So the first thing I want to do is kind of have like big title on screen, you know, a very visible face to kind of pull my viewer in. And so what I'm going to do is take the voiceover from this second scene and move it into my first scene here and delete that scene altogether. With that voiceover moved, I'm going to go into the settings and relink that to the character in that scene. Since we moved it from a different scene, we want the lip sync to still match up. And then I'll exit my audio settings, and now I'm going to actually delete a few of these props here in this scene, like that. And I'm going to take my title, and I'm going to choose auto size and left justification, and then I'm going to move this up here and just kind of reformat this a little bit. And then I'm going to make it much larger, something like that, just because it becomes a lot more obvious what we're supposed to be looking at. Then I'm going to take my character and I'm going to add a waving action. I like this one here, and I'm going to take him and put him dead center, nice and big, something like this. And then I'm going to right click and bring him to the front so his hand kind of waves over the text. Then I'm going to add a enter effect of slide up, and I'll just add a half-second delay to that as well. So now that I've done that, I can actually shorten this first scene from 6 seconds down to something like 4.25. So we're actually saving a bit of time on that and getting to our information quicker. We're having the character speak immediately and the title is bigger so we know what to focus on. The next thing I'm going to do is just a little bit of branding of the colors. So first I'm going to select my scene and use Command or Control A to select all of my scenes. And since they all have the same background, I'm going to go to my background color, and I'm going to change this to kind of like a very light bluish, almost white kind of color. And then I'm going to my asset view, and I'm going to select my red triangles. I'm going to make these Vyond orange. I'm going to make the chair the character sits in Vyond orange. And I'm going to change the coffee cup to be our blue color. And then let me see. The last thing I want to do is select these circles here, which are the shadows under the props in each title scene, and I'm going to change this to be kind of a darker shade of this light blue that I used. So now that I have the video branded just a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and change some of the visuals in the video on those in-between title scenes that Vyond Go created. So going to this first one, I think for pain points, we could definitely come up with something better than this. I'm going to click replace, and then I'm going to search for pain, because sometimes you can be very literal with what you're searching for. And I actually really like the emoji option here, so I'm going to click that and then maybe just resize this guy a little bit. Moving on to the next one, current solutions. I don't think the refresh symbol is the best option here, so I'm going to replace this perhaps with maybe some tools, because I think tools are a good visual representation of solutions. And we even have this kind of phone wrench prop, which I think is a good blend of like tools, technology. I think that's a good representation there. Moving on, key interests of Zodio. A question mark is good because you're trying to find out what that interest is. But I think a better visualization here, something a little more exciting, could be a light bulb. And this one even illuminates, which is a cool animation built into that prop. Moving on, we have decision-making process. Again, a cloud isn't horrible, but I don't think it's the best option here. I'm going to replace that with a brain because that's where the decisions are made, right? So let's do that. It comes in kind of big, so let me go ahead and just resize this down. And then lastly, we have next steps to take. Again, I don't think that the manila envelope is bad, but we can definitely come up with something better. Maybe we have like a finish line flag or something. Yes, perfect. I'm going to use this. Again, if you don't find a prop that, from a keyword that you search, you can use our AI text to image here down at the bottom of the prop window and generate your own prop. So that's a really great feature if you can't find a great visual representation inside of our library that already exists. You can make your own. And then I'm going to go down here to my last scene, and I'm just going to assume that Vyond Go thought Zodio was a English brand, but I don't think that the London bridge here is necessarily a great option. So I'm going to actually delete this, and I'm going to move my title up to the top here. And let me just resize this rectangle a little bit. Something like this. And then I'm actually going to go into my Shutterstock library and let me search for something like front of corporate office. Oh, there we go. And I like this image here, I think. Yeah, that's a great one. So I'm going to click the three dots and select use as background. Perfect. And then I'm going to just resize my character here at the end as well. Something like this. And then I don't think I actually need this last scene, so I'm going to delete that scene and shorten my music to fit the length of my video. And the last thing I want to do is add a logo to my character using our logo placement tool. This is a enterprise only feature, but it is a really cool feature that people have been asking for a long time. And it allows you to add logos or images to your character's clothing, be it their shirt or their hat, whatever it might be. And then as the character moves with character actions, the logo actually stays where it's supposed to. So you can kind of cheat this without logo placement tool, but you can't really apply character actions that move because the logo will stay in place while the character moves. So let me go ahead and show you how to do that real quick. I'm going to select my scene, select all of them, and then choose my character and open the color and logo panel, and then I will add a logo. I will search for, let's see, Vyond. Go to my upload panel, and then I'm going to use the white logo here. And then once that comes in, I'm going to open my settings. And again, you can see upper body, you could put it on the arms, the wrists. If my character had a hat on, you could put it on the hat. But I need to resize and reposition. I know for a fact I need to do 0.25% because this is kind of a big logo. And then I need to change my position to be 8 and 8. All right, and with that, I'll go ahead and preview this in a second. Obviously, you could spend a little bit more time on this, really branding it out more, picking better visuals. If you want to do more with backgrounds and things, you can do that. But just in a short time, you can see how easy it is to customize a video to really work specifically for what you need it for. So let me go ahead and preview the video from the beginning so you can see what we've done.
Hey everyone, let's recap our recent sales call with Zodio. Steven Moreno, Our point of contact is Zodio's CIO. Zodio is facing some significant challenges. They struggle with scalability during peak usage and have concerns about data security and compliance, especially with SOC 2 and GDPR. Additionally, high latency issues are affecting their user experience. Currently, they rely on on-premise servers combined with a hybrid cloud solution using AWS. What interests them? They're looking for cost savings through optimized cloud resources and improved uptime with SLA guarantees. They also want AI-powered analytics for better forecasting. They've evaluated competitor solutions like Microsoft Azure and Google Cloud. The decision-making process involves the CIO and IT director, with the CFO for budget approval. Next steps include sending a custom pricing proposal. We also need to schedule a tech demo for their IT team next week. Lastly, we should provide case studies from similar fintech clients. Let's keep the momentum going. I encourage everyone to schedule a follow-up meeting to discuss our strategy further. Together, we can help Zodio overcome their challenges.
All right, so next up, I'm going to apply some of the editing tactics Rachel talked about earlier to transform a raw screen recording how-to video into something that's more multimedia, more engaging, and way easier to translate into different languages. The footage I'm going to edit is a walkthrough of how to submit a project in Asana made by Mark, who's on our marketing team here. Here's the raw footage.
Hi there. I am going to walk you through how to request that a blog post or a web page be updated with some new content, some new assets. In this case, we're going to update a post with 2 new videos, and I'll walk you through the steps. So, creative requests, after you get the home page here on the left of the menu is where you want to click. And we keep the link for the form under Overview. You can also, of course, bookmark this if you're going to be coming from outside of Asana. That's pretty fast too. All right, some of this is self-explanatory. Some of it, I'll add a little context. Here we got our name here, so people know who this is from. Give this a descriptive title. Update to all right. You have options, whether this is web dev only, creative, and web dev. Creative only. We already have the videos created, so we don't need to get creative involved. So this is web dev only. We're updating. The affected URL is this post here, so grab that. Oops, go back to the form here. All right, a description, adding 2 videos to the post, locations in copy doc. Okay, conveniently we have the specifications for the size and size of the videos essentially that you want added for the web dev team to know. This takes you into this. These video assets here, I just usually cut and paste the whole thing. This might not be the most effective way, but dimensions, we want something like landscape. This is not for social media, it's for the website. There you go, there's that. We'd like this essentially in 2 weeks, if we can get it in 2 weeks, but it is somewhat flexible. The copy doc that lays out where everything is going to be is this one here, so we can add that. Supporting documents, in this case, we're just going to upload the 2 files that we're adding, custom avatar and a Vyond video more broadly. And then who's going to need to approve this, review this? Those 2 folks there, and then you submit. And you'll get a notice that the project has begun. very soon after, and you can follow along elsewhere in Asana. Hope that helps. Thanks.
All right, so that definitely gets the job done, but let's say we need a version of that video in a bunch of different languages for 20 different countries. And not just that video, but a whole series of videos, right? And we also want it to move faster and be more engaging. So in Vyond, there's a number of ways that we can edit that screen recording to bring up the engagement. We can edit it kind of like a TikTok style with a lot of fast cuts, only text on screen, some fun music. There's actually a woman named Miss Excel who has a hugely successful career making videos about Microsoft Excel, and she's a teacher for that. But for this video, I want to take some of those editing techniques and still have voiceover kind of like leading the entire video, as well as having an avatar host for the intro and outro of every single video as well. So in that screen recording, Mark's voice was good, but I'm going to use text-to-speech voice for one, for consistency, and two, because I can easily translate it into other languages using our instant translation tool. So what I did was I actually took the transcript of what Mark recorded and I input that into ChatGPT and asked it to kind of tighten it up and shorten it a little bit. And then I took just a quick pass at it to kind of even shorten it up a little bit more and make it more concise based on what was in the screen recording. But all in, that only took a couple of minutes. So from there, I actually came into Vyond Studio and generated these individual text-to-speech files. And basically what I did is I just created one file for every sentence that I had in my script. And it just makes it a lot easier to chop up the video in the most efficient way possible. And I'll show you how in just a second. But in generating those text-to-speech files, I would just come up to the audio icon here and then click the Add Audio Text-to-Speech. And then each file that I wanted to generate, I would just add in my sentence here, and then I would pick whatever voice I want. I really like this female Ramona J voice. It sounds really great. It's a Well Said Labs voice again. And so each of those that I would generate would just get placed on the timeline kind of in the order or the pacing that I thought that I wanted to use. And then once I was done laying those out, I went in and I just added blank scenes over every single text-to-speech file that were about the same length as the voiceover. Then what I was able to do was I took the actual screen recording itself in my uploads and added it to just one scene. And when I click on it here, I can open the video playback option, and I reduced the volume to 0. And then I just copied this screen recording file and pasted it to every single blank scene. And then I'll show you how I went through and actually did the cutting, which is really just adjusting the start time of every single scene or every single video in each scene to line up the way that I want it to. Also working this way, what that allows me to do is not only create faster cuts and cut out a lot of the flubs, the mess ups, people saying things like that, but it allows me to also cut to close-ups of the screen recording, so it's not just the same size the whole time, and that dramatically increases the engagement and the retention of your viewer. So how that works is each scene that I would go to, some scenes I would keep it the same size, but then here you can see that it jumps up to a close-up. All of these have the same starting thumbnail as well, but what I've actually done here, so if I click on the video file here and go to video playback, you can see that the start time is at 18 seconds. And if I go further into the video and click on this, you can see that the start time is 75 seconds. So all you're doing essentially is listening to each sentence of the text-to-speech, and that's why I've separated them into individual sentences, because it makes it really easy to know what is said where. All I do at that point is I grab this little handle here and I can visually scrub and see what part of the video I need this to start at to line up exactly with what is being said by the text-to-speech. Once I did that, I actually went in to a number of scenes and implemented some of the things Rachel talked about in her presentation. Again, one being text on screen is really helpful for people sometimes to kind of hammer home ideas, as well as adding some visual cues as well. So as we cycle through, you'll see I added things like arrows. This circles a piece of information that pops up on screen in that exact area. And I also have some text pop-ups like this. I also added some emoji style graphics. This pops up over a text box, and at the end here, I have some hands come up and clap as the process is completed. So just some things to kind of add visual interest and kind of help you pay attention at certain areas. And I think that overall just helps keep the engagement up in the video and just make it a lot more fun to watch. Now, like I mentioned, since this video is part of a series, I also wanted to have an AI avatar intro and outro every single video that I'm creating. Many of you may know that since last fall, we have AI avatars now, and we have over 100 of them, a very diverse cast of avatars. And we will be adding more very soon. But one of the features that we recently added is creating custom AI avatars. And what you can do is essentially turn yourself or anyone at your company into a digital clone with their permission, of course. So I went ahead and I actually created an AI avatar of myself. And here's what that looks like.
Hi there. Your custom avatar is ready to go. We are excited to see the creative ways you'll use it to craft personalized videos and connect with your customers. Let's get started.
All right, so pretty cool, right? This, I think, is a really cool feature because essentially what this can have you do is you can have maybe like the heads of each department introduce videos, training videos that are relevant to their department. Or you could have something like a company-wide spokesperson who's in every single video that you make. That could be an actor or even the CEO of the company. They could be wearing company gear. They could be in front of a famous landmark for your company or the office, something like that. Whatever really makes sense for your company. Generating the avatar is as easy as using text-to-speech. So you just input your script into this window here, and then you click create video. AI avatars do take a little longer to generate. They take, up to 10 minutes. Sometimes it's a little bit less than that. But once they generate, they'll show up in your video library, and they actually show up in your upload panel. So they'll be here in your uploads, the video file for your avatars. So once I had those in my video, or once I've generated those, I added them to my video. So I have an intro scene with my avatar here with a little title card that comes in. And then I also have my avatar on the outro of the video to kind of frame up the next lesson after this one. Now you could do this with a non-custom avatar and actually use the same text-to-speech voice, which is kind of a cool feature. But the custom avatars is definitely a really awesome way to add a special touch to your videos as a company, especially if it's someone that everyone at your company will recognize. And then by using a female text-to-speech voice to narrate the whole video outside of my introduction and outro, then, I even gave her a name actually. So it's easy for me to kind of introduce each video, pass it along to our text-to-speech voice over, and then she passes it back to me at the end. So it's just a cool way to introduce a human face and have some more like humanization to the voices that are speaking to you. And again, just create a higher engagement and retention of the information that you're giving. And again, the reason I chose this route for narrating these videos is because if I want to translate these into a bunch of different languages, I can use our instant translation tool up here. So you just click here and then go to translate video, and then I can translate from English into over 70 other languages. And I can pick the dialect of where those languages are from. And this takes moments, especially for a video that's only this short. So you would just click translate. It will translate any on-screen text as well as text-to-speech voice in your video. You will need to go and regenerate just the avatars, whether it's custom avatar or just our standard avatars. You will need to regenerate those in the language of your choosing. But again, that is so much faster and you save a ton of money and time compared to finding talent who can either speak all of the languages that you need or dealing with trying to get them to come back and re-record things if you want to change what they're saying. Now, of course, you'll want to check any translations for timing because, certain sentences might take longer or shorter to read in English versus in German, just based on how the different languages work. And then you'll also, it's always best practice to have a native speaker check for accuracy if that's something that's available to you, although our translation tools are very, very accurate. Now, after all is said and done, I was able to shave off about a little over a minute off of the original screen recording. So the original screen recording was almost 3.5 minutes, and this one with an intro and outro comes to under 2 minutes and 20 seconds. So I actually shaved off a little over a minute while increasing the retention because I was able to actually refine the voiceover directions in the video to make them a little bit more clear and easy to follow. And I also increased the engagement by being able to cut the video shorter, cut to close-ups, give visual cues. And then once it was all said and done, I also added a music track underneath very lightly, but just to help add something other than the voice in the background. So let me go ahead and preview what I've made for you.
Hey there, and welcome back to your new employee training. In the following lessons, you'll learn all about how to use Asana. I'll pass it off to Amanda.
Thanks, Taylor. Now I'll walk you through how to utilize the creative request form. In this example, we're going to submit a request to update a blog post with 2 new videos, but the steps will apply to any requests you submit. First, click on Creative Requests from the Asana homepage in the left menu bar. The link for the Creative Request form can be found on the Overview tab. You can also bookmark the Creative Request form for easier access in the future. Add your name, your email address, and then give your request a descriptive title. Under the next drop-down, you have Web Dev Only, Creative and Web Dev, or Creative Only. We already have the videos created, so this is a Web Dev Only task. Then select what task or tasks you need performed. Next, copy the URL for the post you would like updated. Then paste the URL into the box here. Now you can add a description of exactly what you would like. The next box is where you will enter specifications for the videos. We have a cheat sheet with the most common specs used. You can copy and paste this specification section. Then delete the sizes that are not needed for your request. Now you can move on to selecting a desired due date and specify if the date is flexible below that. You should also add any more supporting information or documents. In this case, I will copy and paste the link to our copy doc, and then upload the 2 video files we would like added to the post. Lastly, list who is needed to review and/or approve this task. Then click Submit. You will get a notice when the project has begun, and you can follow along within the task on Asana. Back to you, Taylor.
Thanks, Amanda. Stick around for the next lesson, where you'll learn about staying organized in Asana.
All right. I don't know about you, but I find that to be a much better option than just a screen recording with some voiceover underneath it. Also, that host is pretty handsome, I might say myself. So anyway, with a little extra work up front, I think the outcome far outweighs the extra work that goes into making a video like this, especially if you're going to build out a whole training series with, hours of training content that people have to sit through and watch. Something like this just becomes so much more digestible for new trainees and viewers. All right, I know I've been talking a lot, but hopefully that's helpful and you're not sick of me yet, because guess what? I've got one more demo to share with you about some of my favorite ways to mix and match elements from Vyond Studio. So for this last example, I made a short training video pulling scenes from different templates within our template library and kind of mixing and matching styles just to show you what you can make with the huge library of assets we have available. So as many users know, we have tons of templates available in our template library. And I'm not talking about scene templates in Vyond Studio. I mean, if you go to our cool new tools panel, you can go to use a template, and this takes you to our template library. And so this is videos that have tons of pre-made assets that were made by our video teams. And some of them include live action assets, photo assets, a lot of mixed media stuff, new character animation styles that you can't get inside Studio, but you can import them into Studio and use them in that way. And you can search by keyword and just find a bunch of stuff here. So I'm actually making a kind of an industry specific, a lab training video on lab safety. And so I can just come in here and search for lab. And I actually pulled scenes from this video here. And you can see if I just hover over it and scrub through, you can see what scenes are available. And so I pulled scenes from this video and from this video. And the way that you do that, all you would do is click on the thumbnail and then click edit in Studio, and it will basically copy that video into your library, and then you can pull scenes from that into whatever video you like. In addition to that, I also searched for title, and I pulled scenes from, let's see, from this video here as well. Just because I like, especially this first title scene. It's not exactly what I want, but that's not really the point of the template library. It's not so you can use it exactly as it is. It's to give you inspiration so you can customize it and make it your own. So really, I like the just kind of the colors a little bit, even though I will change those. And I like the shapes specifically. They just feel kind of scientific to me, kind of, you know, suiting for a lab video. So I had that video open in another window here. You can see that I have access to all the scenes that were in that template. I specifically wanted this scene here. So all I have to do is select it in my timeline. I can right click and choose copy, or I can use the shortcut command or Control C. And then inside my training video, I'm able to paste the scenes that I want from those template videos and use them. So as you can see here, I have this title scene at the beginning, and then just going through, I pulled a number of lab scenes. So I have this scene here. Let's see, I have a kind of a storage warehouse scene, a lab scene, and we have another manufacturing scene here, one more, and then that's it. And then it goes back to the original lab scene. So really there's only 5 scenes that I pulled here, but you can see there's 31 scenes in my timeline. That's because I have a conversation between 2 characters. We already had a script for them that was generated in ChatGPT just so we can do this example. And it's just a conversation between the doctor of the lab, kind of guiding a new hire through the safety protocols of a lab. And so this is a type of video that I know a lot of our customers have to make, training material on either, you know, work procedures, safety procedures, things like that. So I think this is a great way to show off how you can do that. So the way that I was able to keep up the engagement in this video, even though there's only 5 scenes and it's just a conversation between 2 characters, is within each scene, I used the camera tool, which I think is one of the most useful tools in our library, because what I can do is have a scene that starts out like this one here, this first one. It does a slow zoom in kind of to establish where we are at first. And then I cut to close-ups of the characters within those scenes. So it's cutting every few seconds as they're talking, but I don't really have to do a whole lot of extra work because all it is text to speech attached to the characters, and then using the camera tool to change that framing around, and it keeps the pace of the video up, which helps keep the engagement high, and helps with retention as well, because people aren't just zoning out on one single shot the whole time. So back to that first title scene real quick. Let me go ahead and edit this. I'm actually going to get rid of this text here, and I actually don't want the character or any of those assets. I'm going to take the title and put it dead center, and then I'm going to change this to, say, chemical and biological, let's see, safety in the lab. And then I can just kind of size this up a little bit. And in this video, I've created a quick access colors. You can do that by right-clicking on colors and adding to quick access here. So I'm going to change that to yellow. I'm going to change the background to this kind of blue color that occurs all throughout my video. And then I'm going to just click on some of these shapes and change the colors of these as well. Do a light blue, and then these three we can change to this darker blue. And so once I've done that, a great option that we have for saving this is I can now right click on this scene, and then I can add that to my library. And that's really useful because if this is a title that I want to reuse throughout my video or in other videos, I can now go to different sections. So I need to add this title to a couple places. I need to add it right before this scene here. So I can right click on this scene, and then I could do choose scene. And then here in my scenes, let me just back out of this. When I click on the scene panel and go into your scenes, I now have that available to me there. So now it's really easy for me to go in and edit this title. This needs to say chemical storage area. So that's a really fast way to access a scene that I took from a template and then made it into my own template, and now it's in my library forever. I can also copy that scene using Command-C, and then go to the next section where I want that to happen, which is right after this scene, and I can just paste that and it'll show up right afterward. So now that's really helpful because I can quickly go through and let's see, preventing contamination. I can really quickly go through my video and just add these titles to the places that they need to be. So let me just add these couple more places. Let's see, I think we need to go, yep, right here. This one needs to say spill response. And then the last one right here, we'll just say wrap up. And if I want to make this a little smaller to match the other titles, I can do that. Now, one of the last things that I did here is in this scene here, I actually have a character hand holding a phone. This is one of our contemporary props. And a great option, instead of using AI avatars, is to actually include videos of maybe a real person at your company. This is something, especially in like a vertical format for a phone, is really easy to do because anybody who owns any modern iPhone or Android phone can record really high quality video, even with just like the selfie camera on your phone. So I recorded a video of myself that I'm going to add into this phone screen. I can mask it in there, which is really nice. And so I already uploaded that to Studio here. I'm going to add that to, oh, actually, let me delete that. I'm going to click on the asset and then choose the mask icon here, add asset, and then add my video. And then I can now reposition this and just kind of scale it to be the right size. And just like that, I've got my video masked into that phone. Obviously, this is something that we're used to seeing a lot of on TikTok and on Instagram, even LinkedIn Reels now too. And I just think it's an easy and effective way to personalize your content for training, as well as kind of deliver a personal message to the viewer. You can be thanking them for paying attention to the example, or delivering extra information. But I think having a human face mixed in with the animation is just a cool way to get people to kind of like perk up and pay attention and lean in. And it doesn't have to be really well lit or beautiful footage, even though modern phones take really nice footage. It just needs to be authentic and target the viewer that's watching it. Now, one thing I need to do is make the scene long enough. So I'm going to actually double click to access my video again, go to video playback, and I can see it's exactly 19 seconds long. So now I can exit out of this and I can change my scene. A really fast way to do that is click the scene settings gear right here, and I can change this to be 19 seconds. And now that is exactly the length that it needs to be. And to bring us into this scene, I actually did a cool trick here where the character has a character action applied to him that is answering a phone. Oh. There we go, answer. So the action here, it's actually called pick up call, and he pulls the phone out of his pocket and then puts it up to his ear. But the trick here is you actually preview the scene and you shorten the scene. So the action is him pulling the phone out of his pocket, and before he brings it up to his ear, like when he has it out in front of him, you cut the scene there. You drag the duration to end there. And then I can cut to this, which is kind of like the opposite, his point of view looking at the phone. And so what I did here was I used the camera tool and this little prop effect of lines coming out. And I added a sound effect from our library of free sound effects of a phone vibrating. So you, and then also use the camera tool as a close-up and then zoomed out really fast. So what happens is you hear the phone vibrate, you see the visual cue of that, and we're in on a close-up, and then really quickly we zoom out. My camera movement is less than a second, and we zoom out to this wide scene, and you see him pull the phone out, and then we cut to this scene and see, somebody talking. In this case, it's me, because I couldn't get a real scientist to talk for me. But let me go ahead and preview the video so you can see what I was able to put together using all of the different assets available to us in our template library, in our asset library, and of course my own assets as well.
Hi, Alex. Welcome to the lab. Safety is our top priority. Today, I'll walk you through best practices for handling chemicals and biological materials.
That sounds great. I want to make sure I don't mess anything up.
That's the right mindset. Mistakes in a lab can have serious consequences. Let's start with proper chemical storage and labeling. Every chemical must be properly labeled with its name, concentration, and hazard information. Mislabeling or improper storage can lead to spills, dangerous reactions, or contamination.
Got it. And what about disposal?
Hazardous waste must go into designated containers. Never pour anything down the drain unless specifically permitted by our safety guidelines. Before handling any new material, always check the Material Safety Data Sheet, MSDS. It explains hazards, handling precautions, and first aid measures.
That makes sense. And what about biological materials?
Always use gloves, keep samples sealed, and disinfect surfaces regularly. Cross-contamination can put both you and your colleagues at risk.
And so what happens if a spill occurs?
First, alert others and follow the spill response protocol. Use the spill kit, wear protective gear, and neutralize chemical spills as needed. Delays can turn a minor incident into a major hazard.
Hey Alex, one other important thing to remember, OSHA fines for hazardous chemical violations can exceed $13,000 per serious offense and up to $136,000 for repeat violations. Plus, medical expenses and lawsuits can drive costs even higher.
Well, it's definitely not a mistake I want to make.
Exactly. Safety isn't just about following rules. It protects the lab and the people in it. That's your crash course on chemical and biological safety. The key is to stay alert, follow protocols, and never hesitate to ask if you're unsure.
Thank you, Dr. Martinez. I feel a lot more confident now.
Good. Safety is a team effort. Welcome to the lab.
All right, well, there you have it. I think one thing I should also call out is our character actions that you can apply to characters, I think really help with engagement. When you have your characters talking and not moving, it just feels really unnatural. So if you go into our character action library and just search talking or listening and apply those to your characters while they're having conversations, it makes it so much more engaging because they're moving while they're talking like a normal human would do. So anyway, that's a little tour of some of the new and tried and true video creation tools in Vyond, and some ways you can make sure your videos are as engaging as social media reels and highly relevant and catered to your audience.